Transportation at Green Mountain Express started in 1985. Started with one vehicle donated by Gary Gardner, who is a local auto dealership. And that really kind of started everything off. Green Mountain Express was also at that time known as the Green Mountain chapter for the Red Cross. So Red Cross was in this building at that time. In 2007, Green Mountain Express split from the Red Cross, and that began our operations. Green Mountain Community Network is a nonprofit organization, and the sole purpose of providing affordable transportation to Bennington County residents. Well, I think essentially the core goal here at Green Mountain Express is to being able to provide our residents of Bennington County with a variety of transportation services, which is essential in what we do, that is effective, efficient, and relevant to our customer need. And this is being accomplished through our professional drivers and volunteers, who are at the end of the day, they are the core of what we do in terms of services. So they play an integral role each and every day in connecting with our residents and passengers. The volunteers play a key role in what we do, especially when it comes to our demand services. These are primarily Medicaid clients who call and request assistance, but also we have a wonderful program that serves the elderly and disabled community residents as well. So these are individuals who are volunteers on the schedule. So say, for example, someone calls in and wants to set up an appointment. We in turn contact those volunteer drivers. And we got to keep in mind that the volunteer drivers are unpaid drivers, but we do reimburse them through the mileage process as well. So they play a key role, and currently we have approximately 9 to 10 volunteers, and we're looking for more volunteers currently as I speak to you right now. So I encourage those that are interested in providing that service, dedicated service to our residents, to please contact Green Mountain Express. Well, the mission is providing our residents here in Bennington County with a variety of different transportation services. And I think that is the core of our mission, to make sure that it's effective, making sure that it's relevant to state and federal requirements in terms of having adequate vehicles, safe vehicles, and then also just being responsible in terms of managing the day-to-day operations. I'm very proud to say that we serve a very diverse population, and our organization is committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is essential not only when it comes to employment opportunities, but also when we're providing transportation to those key populations in terms of reaching those core members or groups as well. So when I think about the people we serve, at the end of the day, it is about human services. It is about the people. And what we're trying to do is make sure that all of those individuals who are in need of transportation, and I know we'll talk about a little bit of the different services, but at the end of the day is providing a variety of different transportation services for our community. This is one of the exciting things of what we do, because when I think about services, and they're growing each and every day, but at the core, In terms of services, we provide, public bus routes, in terms of, a variety of different locations. We provide demand response. Demand response meaning those residents or individuals who like to call for appointments, specifically Medicaid clients, elderly, and those with disabilities as well. We also have a children's program for those parents who are employed and need to get their children to daycare and to schools. We also provide that service as well. In addition to that, we also provide employment opportunities or transportation to get those residents who do not currently have vehicles to and from their places of employment. In addition to that, we have a recovery and job access program for those residents who are struggling with drug and alcohol and trying to make a difference in their life in terms of trying to find employment. We provide them transportation, getting to and from their interviews to their places of employment. We do Shoppers Express, those who just want to take the transportation and be able to go shopping for the day. We provide that service as well. We do social groups for those who want to schedule services for an event. We also do local and long distance medical transports for those who need to get to appointments. At the heart of it, when I think about the community that we serve, small rural town, and I think about our population and the residents and those that really are in need of services, that motivates me in terms of the direction that we're going in. Of course, with the assistance of local agencies and partners, the key is, and I believe in my heart, that we are striving to make sure that all residents have an opportunity to use transportation, even those with vehicles. And then on the other end of that, I think about, the economic factor that transportation plays in the town or in Bennington County as well. So I kind of tie all of those in, and you see the need and value of those services. Mac Molding is seeking for more employees. And one of the things we discussed is how can Green Mountain Express, how can we partner with Mac Molding, but not just Mac Molding, but also Orvis, who is located in Manchester, Vermont. How can we partner with local agencies and companies to open up employment opportunities, but also to make sure that it's sustainable, okay, and it helps with employee retention and so forth. But I think that partnership and those partnerships plays an integral part of what we're trying to do, not just here at Green Mountain Express, but also from a business perspective and helping our partners.
My name is Jim Ware. I'm the operations manager for Green Mountain Express. I've been with the organization for about 16 years. I'm from the area, so I was in the Navy for 20 years, and when I retired, I decided to come back to the area. When I got here, I applied for a position. This used to be actually the Red Cross. So I applied for a position as the emergency director for the Red Cross, and luckily I got that position. A lot of things changed over the next few years. After I had been here about 2 years, the Red Cross decided that they really did not want to do any more ancillary services. They wanted to continue to do blood work, but they wanted to get rid of transportation. So we all had to make the big choice at that time whether we were going to stay with the Red Cross or move over to transportation. I decided to go with transportation. Was probably the right move, because had I stayed with the Red Cross, I probably would not have had a job a year after that. Mm-hmm. So here we are, 16 years later, and I'm still doing transportation for Green Mountain Express. The operations manager, I guess I keep the wheels rolling, if you will, around here. I'm responsible for making sure the schedules are done for the drivers so they know when they're coming into work. I'm responsible for the overall operation, in that I need to make sure that we always have functioning buses that we can put out on the routes. A little bit of everything. Well, when I got here, the fleet was probably around 12 to 14 buses, but I've heard stories that when this all started, it started out with 2 minivans. So it definitely has grown. Today we have a fleet of about 32 buses, minivans, various types and sizes of vehicles. We are active every day. We just provide a little bit of different service from day to day. Basically, we run from Monday through Friday, so the majority of our buses are actually on the road between Monday and Friday, between 8 and 5. We do operate a little bit before 8 o'clock, and we do some services after 5 o'clock during the weekday. Our buses are also on the road on Saturdays. However, the service is scaled back a little bit. During the weekdays, we have 4 or 5 routes constantly running, and on the weekends, we scale that back to 2 routes. So that's our public transportation that's available 6 days a week. And then we do operate on Sunday, but it's mostly doing demand response type service, getting people to medical appointments and such. So the wheels are rolling every day, 365 days a year. Actually, our buses do go outside the state. Currently, we have one route, the Purple Line, that actually operates between Bennington and Williamstown, Massachusetts. As far as routes are concerned, those are the only routes. The Purple Line is the only route that we operate that goes outside the state. We do a lot of demand response service where we do take folks for medical appointments outside the state. So we go to Dartmouth a lot, Pittsfield, Mass, Albany. We even go as far as Boston and New York City sometimes to take folks to their medical appointments if they need to go that far away. And our demand response is based on whether you're eligible for the service or not. We have several pots of money that we pull from. We do a lot of service for Medicaid. So if you're an eligible beneficiary under Medicaid and you're eligible for that transportation, all you need to do is call us, get enrolled, and then you're eligible for transportation whenever you need it. To transportation that's covered under Medicaid, as long as you're seeing a physician or going to a doctor's appointment, something like that. We also have the Elders and Individuals with Disability program, which is funded by VTrans. That particular program is for individuals over the age of 60 and individuals that may have a disability. So people that fall in that category can get rides also. And we do a lot of other services such as transporting children to daycare and some other private types of transports as they come up. The Purple Line, which I mentioned earlier, that goes down to Williamstown, and there you can actually meet up with other buses from Berkshire Transit out of Pittsfield. You can also meet up with Peter Pan bus lines and Yankee Trails to get service further into Boston or New York City. Our Orange Line meets with the bus out of Rutland in Manchester. So you can get all the way to Burlington in one day on our service. It just might take the whole day. You do have to make several connections. Our Emerald Line, that operates from Bennington and meets up with the movers in Wilmington. So you can further get transportation over to Brattleboro. And when in Brattleboro, you can find other modes of transportation to get out of the state. A service that we don't operate, which is the Vermont Trans Line. That is a bus that runs between Burlington. It actually stops here at our transfer station and then it goes on to Albany. That service runs twice a day. We also have Yankee Trails that comes to Bennington twice a day. So you have another opportunity if you need to get between Bennington and Albany on that service. Both the Yankee Trails and the Vermont Trans Lines, they both pull into this station. So very convenient. I like to think we serve everybody in Bennington County, and we have roughly 35,000 people in Bennington County. So all those people are certainly eligible for the public transportation, and many of them are eligible for Medicaid and E&D services. But when you look at the ridership numbers, there's really no way to tell how many folks we are servicing. But 2 years ago, we did about 150,000 trips for the year, which is pretty impressive when you're serving a county with 35,000 residents. COVID came, those numbers dropped quite a bit when COVID came. People were a little more nervous about getting on public transportation. So we saw our numbers dip below 100,000 rides last year. They're right around 92,000. But the good news is more people are riding the bus again, and we're projected to have about 130,000 trips by the end of this year. So it's coming back up. Well, of course, rides. There are so many people out there that really depend on the service that just don't have a way to get from point A to point B. And, there are so many people, we're such a rural area that it's really hard to find a way to get to the grocery store or get to the doctor's appointment. So I think it's great that we have a service available so people can take advantage of that. And we certainly want to get the word out, because you have to think there's still those folks that live way out in those areas that just don't know that this transportation option exists. How are they getting to their appointments now? How are they getting to the grocery store? So I think we have a really robust public transportation system here, and I think a lot. I gave you the numbers. A lot of people are using it. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a great resource. We make changes to the routes annually, actually, and we do that based on all that data we collect, the ridership data. We track this data very closely. We know how many people are getting on at each stop. We know how many people are getting on at certain times of the day. And we take this data and we are constantly adjusting the routes to provide a better service. So, clearly if we're going to a stop and not a lot of people are getting on at that stop, it might be time to move that stop a little further down the road or to another place. That's one way we do it. We rely on our driver's input. They're out there, they're doing the job every day. They see things out there that we might not be doing right. So every year the drivers provide their input on how they think we could be doing the routes better. And lastly, we take a lot of constructive criticism from the public. We welcome it. Even the current schedule we are using today, a lot of that, the design of that schedule was brought to us by a passenger. So that's the schedule we're using today. The public can comment on our website by going to the comments section. They can call us on the phone and say, hey, we would really like the bus to stop over here. And we do send out surveys every year asking specific questions on how we could be doing the routes better. So we've gotten to the point where we're just down to kind of doing minor tweaks on the routes every year, but there was some years where we had to do some major overhauls based on the feedback that we received from the public and the data that we collected. Well, recently we found out that they're going to extend that through the next fiscal year. So when we talk about fiscal years, our fiscal year runs from July to June. So we're going to finish out fare-free through June 30th of this year, and then we got another 12 months after that that'll be fare-free. Where we go from there, we don't know. I think the overall goal statewide is to go fare-free statewide. We'll see where we're at 18 months from now on that. I think more folks get on the bus when it's fare-free. However, it's been kind of hard to, with COVID and our ridership going down. I think if COVID had not come and we were fare-free, I think ridership would have increased. I know there are other providers throughout the state that have been fare-free, and they are able to demonstrate increased ridership by having a fare-free program. So I think it'd be beneficial to increase ridership. I've been here 16 years, and I know customers that have been using our service all that time. We know them by their first name, and sometimes they're very pleasant when they call, and sometimes they like to tell us what we could do better, and that's okay. Like I said earlier, we'll take any kind of constructive criticism we can get.
Good.
I drive everything. I have a CDL. I drive everything from the 12 seaters up to the 28 seaters. I do demand response, medical, a little bit of everything. Probably the demand response because it's more one-on-one. For example, we pick you up at your doctor's, take you home, vice versa. Uh, it's just more one-on-one. We also do other things like every once in a while the seniors will want to take a bus load and go over to the mall. It's just, you never know what's going to happen. And you get to know the passengers, and it's more one-on-one, more personable. I'm a native of Vermont, left in '91, found my high school sweetheart, came back to Bennington, make a long story short, worked at a temp agency. This job became available, and why not? We started off in a small bus, and then after a while, when we're ready and we pass the written, they'll start training us. We pretty much study on our own, but yes, we do train with the road test.
That's good.
The company does. I've never seen an operation like this where we're so community oriented. We're a small town compared to some of the other places I live. But we have routes that will take you to the hospital every 30 minutes, shopping every 30 minutes, up to Manchester. And then, like I said, the demand response. I've dealt with a lot of shut-ins in my life. And for them to have that chance to be able to schedule that doctor's appointment and know that they've got a ride, I think it's phenomenal. We're supportive of each other. We laugh, joke, correct each other. We're good. As a whole, we're a good team. For me, it's more like the hardest thing, and like I said, I've been doing this for 5 years. I'm very punctual. I'm rather be 15 minutes early than 1 minute late. This is not the job for it. You have traffic conditions, you have people conditions. Somebody may not be quite ready. For me, that's the biggest problem. My job is to get you there in a safe and efficient manner. And when you're not quite ready, my biggest thing is that when you're not ready, it throws everybody else down the road off. But we have extra drivers, we have ways where we can, if I get too far behind, we'll send a run to another driver. So it does work out. But to me, that's just my personal thing. It's like, come on, people. We get a lot of positive feedback. Like I said, other customers have said this is a unique program that we can pick up. We're not a taxi service. We do have to schedule, but it's the fact that they can get to where they need to be. And a lot of the customers, sometimes other than the doctor or that sales clerk, we're the only person they see. So with some of them, you do build a bond. Yeah, they have their favorite drivers. We have our favorite customers. And it's like when you pick up the same elderly lady at her house for 5 years in a row, you can't help but get to know them personally. You hear about their cat that just tore up her brand new curtains. You just hear little things, and we laugh. For the most part, everybody does get along. They do like our service. This is we're customer service on wheels. That's how we see it. you're going to get a good safe ride. We'd have to do a vehicle inspection every morning. Everything from checking the oil to making sure that the seat belts are working. We've got the first aid kit. We are trained to deal with road conditions. Whether it's a 2-car accident or a tree down, we're good about communicating different problems. And not just so much as the driving, also, like if you come at me with a walker, I don't expect you to carry your walker up your step. So we unbuckle our seatbelt. We do assist people with their groceries and their walkers. We don't want anybody to fall. Safety is very big with this company. We want you to enjoy your ride. We try to greet you with a smile. I mean, most drivers do. We're humans. We have our rough days, or we might have had a customer that got a little unruly, but we shake it off and go on to the next. And like I said, we get to know the customer. Sometimes we're the only people that they see. They need somebody just to talk. That simple, hi, how are you doing today? You'd be surprised on how many people will just go from a normal look and just light right up. That's what I like about it the most. And we do encourage the drivers, be curious. Treat them like it was your own loved one. We do more than just take you to the grocery store or the doctors. We do have special events. If you have an organization that might want to go to the museum, or we take busloads of children down to the museums or day trips, we're available. Just call and check and see what the requirements are. If you're new and you need a ride, check and see what you might be able to get a free ride someplace. Call and check and see what the standards are. I'm a driver. I really don't know what the policies are, but call the office.
Very frequent rider, so I ride it a lot, probably at least 4 days a week to work, and I absolutely love it. I work at Buxton School, which is just past the Clark Art Institute on the Purple Line. I catch the Purple Line about a block from my house. It runs down Route 7, and I stand out in front of the old Salvation Army. You can, any place that's safe, I think I'm accurate, they'll pull off, and it's a safe place for them to pull over, let me get on. So I literally walk a block to get the bus and a block home. They drop me off there as well. That's great. Actually across the street at the gas station. Well, let's see. The Purple Line, the first run of the morning goes all the way to Pine Cobble School. Mm-hmm. The second run stops at where the Williams Inn used to be. Now the Williams Inn's not there. And then the runs for the next few times stops at the Pownell Medical Campus. Doesn't go any further. And then the last 2 runs of the day, they go to the Williams Inn location and then to Pine Cobble the next time. So it depends. The Purple Line is not consistent every single run of the day. It doesn't go as far in the middle of the day. Well, I knew about it just because we live here. But what happened was we were going down to one car. One of our cars, needed to be replaced, and we really gave it some thought and realized because of Green Mountain, we didn't need another car. I could take the bus to work, so it allowed us to go down to one car. So that's how it happened when we were deciding, and Tony, my husband, happened to look at the bus route, and he said, this is perfect. Mm-hmm. The timing works out beautifully, as does the route. So it was a no-brainer. I've only ridden one other line, and I needed to get to Bennington College for an event, and Tony had the car. So I looked at the bus schedule, and wouldn't you know it, there was a route that took me right to Bennington College right at the time that I needed it to. I just think you need to get people on the bus. I think there's a perception that it's not for everyone, and that there's really only people that don't have cars maybe should ride the bus, but it isn't. It's for everyone. And I realized this morning when I was thinking about doing this, like, why? What is it about me that did this? And I think it has to do with, I grew up with mass transit. I grew up about 30 miles outside of Manhattan. So mass transit has been a part of my consciousness, a long time. My grandmother took buses to come visit us. We took buses to visit my grandmother. My dad commuted to Manhattan. I've ridden on subways all my life. So for me, it was just a natural thing to think about, but I don't think it is for a lot of people that have lived here or lived in only rural areas. I just don't think they think about using public transportation. So I think one of the hurdles is just getting people on the bus and understanding and having knowledge of all the places you can go. Yes, it may take you a little longer, but there's so many benefits to riding the bus that the little bit of extra time is really not a big deal. Well, first of all, I'm not paying gas for gas. There are weeks where our car literally sits in the garage for days at a time because we just don't need it. We walk a lot of places. We live close to downtown also, so that helps us not use our car. I have found it broadens my sense of community by riding the bus. I really enjoy and seek out opportunities to be with people that have lived a different life experience than myself. I mean, we're on a bus. It's not that we're going to become best friends and get into deep conversations, but being in the presence of people that are different from me, I feel like is very, very important. And I think that's a really valuable part of riding the bus. So there's the climate issues, the financial issues, and I'm getting to know people in my community that I wouldn't ordinarily know and interact with. Being bus drivers, there's some difficult situations they find themselves in. And I can tell you, in probably the 4 years I've been riding the bus, I have never once witnessed a bus driver lose their temper or treat anyone with disrespect ever, even in the most difficult of situations. They're just really good people, and they want everyone to be treated well. I'm happy to pay. I love the fact that people don't have to pay if they can't.